The imaginative little Lying-Si crawled through the ventilation duct like she was on a treasure hunt and ended up spotting an unforgettable boy in this tiny exit. Expressionless, Susui lay on the bed, completely unguarded, resembling a fish ready for the market, while the creep treated her like a puzzle piece, fiddling with her. When Lying-Si saw the photographer's face, she understood why Susui suddenly cut ties, her icy gaze questioning his actions. Spotting Lying-Si, Susui quickly wrapped herself in her clothes, leaving the man stunned at first, then sitting there like a clueless couch potato. With tears in her eyes, Lying-Si gazed at the girl she had long admired, remembering her purity and kindness, yet sensing a faint chill shockingly from her own father. Heartbroken, she suddenly drew scissors, as if on a mission, and stabbed her father's heart. It happened in a flash. Watching her father fall, Lying-Si sobbed while clutching the scissors tightly as if they were her trusty sword. Susui's expression displayed a mix of fear and confusion. At that moment, they were still naive, completely unaware of the darkness and ugliness of the world. Yet, in the girl's mind, she had already imagined the scenario countless times. As she crouched down to comfort Lying-Si, she snatched the murder weapon from her hand like grabbing a shooting star, and tears fell from her eyes, as if declaring her liberation from the pain. To cover up the crime, after Susui left through the front door, Lying-Si barricaded it with a heavy object and then made her escape through the ventilation duct. The girl wore a bright smile, for to her, that boy was the only light in her dark life, illuminating her path forward like a light. Therefore, she hoped Lying-Si would remember that they had never met or spoken, and even concocted a fib to help the boy make his escape. That night marked the beginning of the 19-year journey of crime. The body was discovered by a child who often played hide-and-seek in the building, and the detective assigned was a meticulous old cop. On arrival, she stared thoughtfully at the vent, noting the door inside was blocked by a heavy object. If it was murder, that seemed to be the killer's only escape route. However, the narrow duct appeared only child-sized, yet what caught her eye was a well-dressed woman. It is the victim's pawnshop owner's wife, showing no sorrow, noticed by the detective, seizing the chance to take her home. 2 officers inquired about the deceased. Young Lying-Si was questioned too. The detective noticed his odd behavior, but investigations can't rely on instinct. Evidence was needed. Soon, the police found clues based on the victim's actions. On the day of the crime, the man withdrew $2 million in cash from a bank and last spent money at a noodle shop, buying a box of cake. Moreover, the deceased seemed to have had close contact with Susui's mother. The police quickly arrived at Susui's home for investigation, and since the mother was still away, only the girl was there. The detective easily discovered the cake box. The victim indeed bought it that day, and the veteran cop had an uncanny 6th sense. Susui, observing secretly, sensed tension, then turned her head. The girl was reading a storybook when Susui's mother returned, denying she had been home on the day of the death. The detective didn't press further but found the girl odd. Back at the station, she told her partner she suspected the girl deliberately showed them the cake box. Then, a colleague found a new clue on the day of the crime. Susui's mother paid a 2 million yen loan, matching the victim's withdrawn amount. Signs pointed to the woman being the killer motivated by greed, yet the detective was still preoccupied with Susui's behavior. At this time, the girl was about to commit her first sin, adding a large dose of cold medicine to her mother's drink. While her mother was fast asleep, she grabbed the weapon to try and get her fingerprints on it. The cold scissors stirred the tipsy woman. Susui looked at her mother in fear. The woman smiled and whispered, "As a mother, I won't betray my daughter due to alcohol and drugs." Once more, the woman slipped into slumber. Through her own mother, who had nurtured her for 11 years, Susui could no longer contain her sadness and turned on the gas valve at home. Wanting to erase all ties with her father, including herself, the next morning, police received news of a murder-suicide involving mother and daughter. The woman seemed to have committed suicide out of guilt, dying from carbon monoxide poisoning. The weapon was found in the cabinet's utility scissors, now covered in. Miraculously, Susui was saved at the hospital, something she probably never expected. Upon hearing her mother had died from the police, she unintentionally smiled. The detective saw it all and was nearly certain the girl had serious problems, but couldn't pinpoint exactly what they were. When Susui asserted that the scissors belonged to her mother, the case seemed wrapped up for good. However, the label of patricide and maternal transgression would haunt them for life, as the dark night filled with pain, repression, and despair began to unfold. Susui became the talk of the school, as her backpack was branded with "daughter of a murderer," a label stamped upon her. Such a label could never crush the resilient girl. She decided to leave the city to avoid complications, and before departing, she retrieved the scissors that belonged to Lying-Si. When faced with the old detective's questions, she smiled, declaring it was a beautiful memory and even a keepsake from her mother. Embracing the moment of departure, Line C, like a detective herself, went to the library where they often met and found a farewell letter hidden in a novel that Susui loved. To outsiders, Line C was the victim's son while she was branded as the murderer's daughter. If they maintained a good relationship, it would seem odd to anyone else. For someone who lived in darkness, Line C was the sunshine. The bittersweet memory seemed fresh in her mind, and she ran for her life. Just as Susui was about to get in the cart, she grabbed her. The boy was completely soaked in sweat. His legs bore the marks of his falls along the way. Though his words moved the girl in front of him, reason told her that they could no longer coexist in the sunshine. So, Susui still pointed out the direction for the boy to leave. Line C's final gift to Susui was a sunshine drawn from the farewell letter. It would illuminate her dark nights in his absence as time flew by. The boy grew up. For 7 years, Line C waited daily at the platform, watching passing trains alone, but wasn't truly alone. Every time Susui passed her old place, she'd look out the window, stealthily watching the man waiting for her. The long night seemed to come to an end as Susui found solace in the arms of a gentle stepmother who nurtured her like a garden and helped her grow. Her stepmother, with her diligent and kind nature, became the source of Susui's elegance. However, how could she ever find peace after committing such heinous acts? Even if she became Tang Susui, a troubled childhood requires a lifetime to mend. In the microcosm of school society, the beautiful and graceful Susui was targeted by the jealous, who dug up her past, once again branding. Her locker was often filled with disgusting trash, and her best friend cautiously tried to comfort the distressed Susui. If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe.